war. Yeah. We at war, we at war.
Going to war.
Yeah.
No cap.
We at war.
Big snuggler.
Yeah.
King cuddler.
We at war, we at war.
Let's go.
Yeah. NFTs, nuts. It's a drug war.
Amazing. Hello. Are we here? Hi.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, as ever the case may be, wherever you are joining us from today. Yeah, I think we are here. We are here. I think we're getting an echo, are we? G'day, Arlo. Nice to see you, mate. How are you today?
Hey, good day. Good to see you. Hi, Trevor. How are you? Did you have
Yeah,
a good
not
weekend?
bad. Yeah, it was a great weekend. We had a long weekend. We celebrated the, well, I don't know if celebrating is the right word. We mourned the Queen yesterday in the far reaches of the Commonwealth, which involved me mowing my lawns and drinking whiskey.
Fair
So
tribute.
that was a fair tribute, I thought.
Mhm.
Touching grass was important, as they say in the metaverse.
Yeah, but the wars never stop. Wars never sleep. They went all through the weekend. We had our daily updates through the weekend. Yeah,
did.
and we're working our way down now to the final battles of the first round.
We are. Yeah, it's pretty exciting, actually. We've only got this one that's just been launched today. So that's the final. Is it, or have we got one more after that?
One more after
One
this.
more.
I think we're about to announce Division 4A.
Yep, and we have 4B,
And
right?
then we'll have 4B. We'll round it out. Yeah.
So pretty exciting. Almost the entire 64 round or 64 entries have fought. Almost everyone has, and we're into the 32. I think things will go pretty quickly from there. And before you know it, we'll be battling bosses and we'll be fighting it out to see who will become the first ever inaugural warlord and take out all of the prizes.
So let me tell you something about that, because we've been teasing that there are double agents scattered throughout this competition, and no double agents have been defeated yet, right? There were four, or there still are four, that are spread out through these first rounds. In the first round, there's 32 matchups, so there's four spread between those 32 matchups. It's possible that all four randomly got distributed into the last two divisions. But it's also possible, probably even more likely, that we've had some double agents come up and they just weren't defeated. So those double agents will move on into the next round. But we are also introducing 4 new double agents in the next round. That means that 4 teams are going to get randomly assigned the double agent status. Basically, they are going to flip. They're going to become double agents. So whatever double agents move through, plus the 4 new double agents in the next round, there's going to be a lot of double agents circulating around this next round. In fact, I wouldn't even be surprised if we end up with matchups where it's double agent versus double agent. So either way, someone's claiming a prize.
100%. I mean, 8 out of 32, right? So that's
in the next round, it's going to be 16 matchups. Yeah, so half the matchups will have double agents.
Half of the matchups are likely to have double agents. So, yeah, it's been wild, right? Like how we haven't seen a single one go off. And it's interesting to note that you're not calling us from your usual location, are you, Mr. Eisenberg? You're in Las Vegas. And you're currently picking winners like there's no tomorrow. So every double agent you've picked so far has been a winner. So are you going to?
Well, I can't take too much credit for
it.
I can't take too much credit for it. I used a spinner. So, but the spinner, is picking winners. So
you should use the spinner, get some numbers, and then hit the roulette table, right?
I should. If only there was a way to incorporate the spinner into my poker game.
I'm sure there's somebody in the community that would have some insight around that. Maybe Rollerblazer. He's a bit of a mad poker fiend. Nicely seems to be pretty good at the old Texas Hold'em. I noticed that he seems to always feature right near the top whenever there's a poker tournament going on.
I think that's the problem, is I'm just no good at it. So probably the best advice would be to stay away from the poker tables.
It's impossible though, right? You can't go to Vegas.
What do you do in Vegas?
Poker.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like going to the ball game and not having a hot dog.
Exactly.
All right. So should we get into it?
Let's do it.
I don't think there's any real community announcements. There's no major sporting events that happened overnight to talk about. So we can just dive into the wrap. Let's have a look at who has just fought in round 3B. So this is what the matchup looked like. We had, I'll get you to say these names because I'm always scared of that first one.
Plata y Plomo?
Plata y Plomo, yeah. So Plata y Plomo took on Up, Down, Done, and Out. The Snoochie Boochies crew took on Blue Angels. Maltasanti Milkshake took on War for 4 Please. And Serenity Prayer took on Dis. And in that first battle, Plata y Plomo with V Done and Out. And
if you look at that lineup, everything down the left side in the left column, those are all, each one's kind of got a mouthful of a word.
Yeah, it's a good thing we do these for me in the morning and not in the evening because I'd hate to be trying to pronounce these after 3 or 4 whiskeys. All right, so battle number 1. The winner is Up,
Boom,
Down,
Up, Down,
Done,
yep, Done and Out. Oh,
and Out.
Yeah, and I've got the tallies here too.
We have the scores. How do we fare up here?
So Up, Down, Done and Out won by a margin of 115 to 95. So fairly close in the scheme of things. But Up, Down, Done and Out is a just a really expertly crafted, curated card. And one of these that falls in the category of checking all the boxes. Nice, a nice lore, nice curation, and I think good propaganda. You're right.
There's been a significant, I think this round overall, that was a reasonably close match. 20 votes seems to be a pretty, I guess, a normal from what we've seen so far in the wars. That's a fairly normal margin for a win. But there's some battles coming up later in this division where it came right down to the wire and literally a couple of votes separated the winner and loser. I thought we were going to go to tiebreaker island
we did
for a moment on this one. But
we got into the Discord and started telling her, hey, go make sure you go vote for your tiebreakers because we thought it was going to come into play. And we'll see. We'll see if we've got any ties.
So congratulations to Up, Down, Done and Out for a nice little victory there. Let's have a look at battle number 2. The Snoochie Boochie crew, or Snoochie Boochie's crew, took on Blue Angels. And the winner is Blue Angels. Took this one out.
Blue Angels. And this one, Trevor, was a much more decisive victory. So this went 136 for the Blue Angels against 55.
Right. That's a pretty decisive victory there.
It is decisive. And this one has a lot of things going for it, honestly. I mean, the blue on blue just automatically catches your eye, right? And the theme of Drug Wars basically is these blues. And so seeing the all blue there is really striking. Plus the wings is in the Drug Wars logo, and it's called Blue Angels. And you've got the wings on the on each of the DRX receipts. I mean, it's just in so many ways, it's like it's a really strong and strongly curated entry. But also the lore also carries its weight as well. So really, really nice, solid submission here.
Yeah, this is a nice, flex and a lot of work gone in here from a Kingpin. Strong use of what they've got in their arsenal, which is a broad range of tokens, right? So they've got the ability to kind of match up and get the backgrounds and the common traits and things working for them, and then battled up against the Set Tripper. It's a shame that the Set Tripper went down to the DRX. The DRX set was It was a battle against the DRX sets. So both using the Set Tripper frame. So the DRX set is the winner in the end of the day. But yeah, I think you're right. And
when we refer to a DRX set, of course, that just means that they've used one of each of the characters in their set, in their collection. So in Blue Angels, he's got Rex, then Cap, Tabby, and Siren, one of each of our characters. But Snoochie Boochie's crew also did the same thing. So as Trevor said, this was a matchup against 2 DRX sets. And then anyone that holds at least one of each of the characters in their holdings, in their wallet, they get the role and the designation as a Set Tripper. So that gets you access to the blue frame, the Set Tripper frame. So that was 2 Set Tripper frames two DRX sets going up against each other, but Blue Angels took it down.
Yeah, so I think it shows the importance of curation and lore and time spent in making sure that you're putting your best foot forward. So,
and just one other quick note, Trevor, on the flex there from Blue Angels. But since they were all winged NFTs, 3 of them were within the top 1,000, so top 10%. And I think a couple of those even were probably within like the top 200, 250.
Yeah, top 150. So, yeah, I'm looking at the back of the card here. We've got a rank 124 and a rank 115. So some pretty serious tokens in that set. But we haven't seen that necessarily be a correlation to victory, right? I think there's a few people that assume that they would throw out their big tokens and that they would just win because they're rare. But it really is coming down to creativity, wit, curation, all the things that we've been talking about are really ringing through for the competition. So nice to see.
Well, one interesting note about that is that we did see 2 1-of-1s in a set go up against another collection, and they lost, right? So that flex did not actually work out to their advantage, or it didn't give them the bump that you might have expected. But then we saw another 1-of-1, just a 1-1-of-1 go up another collection, and they won. So you're right. It's no guarantee. Still curating matters. Lore matters. Propaganda matters. Yeah.
I think that what we're seeing, and as the battles go on, no doubt it'll be even more prevalent, is the ones that have done kind of all of it, right? Like they've curated the card well, they've put some time and effort into the lore and team name, and then they've gone and done a significant amount of catchy, memorable, the kind of propaganda that makes you feel like you want to reward that person for putting in that effort, right? I think that makes a big difference as well. And we've got some propaganda for the next round of battle that we're going to share right at the end of the recap today. All right, let's move on to the third battle in the set, which was Multisanti Milkshake taking on War for 4 Please. And the winner was Multisanti Milkshake. Now, this one was tight. This one was really tight.
Yeah, it was actually tied, like even going into the last hour. I think maybe it was like 93 or something. That's when we started like putting the calls out. Guys, make sure you go into the Discord and vote in the tiebreaker channel. And for anyone following along who's not familiar with that, we do have a tiebreaker channel set up in the Drug Receipts Discord. And we post up each of these matchups. And then all you do is you go in, you click one arrow or the other to vote for left or right. But in the event that any battle in the arena ends up in a tie, then we will go to the Discord channel and look at the exact same matchup. And whichever one has the most votes there, that is the tiebreaker. And in some cases, the matchup that wins in the tiebreaker channel is different than the one that matters in the battle arena, but that's of no consequence. It only matters if there's a tie, and then it only matters which one has the most votes if you go to tiebreaker. We haven't had to use it yet, but here, let me tell you what the final tab on this thing was. It was 96 for Multisanti Milkshake against 93 for War for 4 Please. So really, really close. I think that's got to be the closest one we've had.
That is the closest one we've had so far. Yeah. It's, I know both the team owners of these two teams were in the Discord kind of, just drumming up votes in that last hour, and both seemed to have a sense of urgency, stress, and pressure in their tones in the comments that they were making. So, yeah, a real nail-biter this one. And it'll be interesting to see how Multisanti Milkshake makes their way through the next round. So, congratulations.
Are you teasing the propaganda for that team?
A little bit, yeah. There was some interesting propaganda. I haven't got it to show, but if you're in the Discord and if you're watching, if you're watching this on YouTube or you've just stumbled across it on Twitter, make sure you join us in our Discord, which is where all the main conversation goes on. Discord.gg/drug receipts.
Wait, so are we not showing it here?
Not the propaganda for that one. No.
So then I do just want to reference what it is, though, because it is interesting. So if you read the lore on that card, and the inspiration for it is The Sopranos, and so it's a take on one of the characters, Michael from The Sopranos, and it's like sort of talking in his voice, but all repurposed to be around the theme of drug wars. But there's an episode of The Sopranos. This is a very obscure little bit of Drug Receipts and Arlo Eisenberg history. But there's an episode of The Sopranos where Tony Soprano's mother is in the hospital and she's flipping through the channels on the hospital TV. And one of the channels that comes up is me skating in a skate video. and she's like, she tries to change, she changes the channel, and it's like a, probably a half a second clip or something. But for people that know, they know. And the legend is, and I think this probably is right, someone in the production, on the crew working for that television show was a skater. And so they sort of got it in, right?
I've actually got it. So we showed this yesterday on yesterday's, we promoted this propaganda on yesterday's daily.
I missed yesterday's. That's why I don't know.
Yesterday. So here it is. Just one more time, since you've been talking about it, I've got it lined up here. Here we go.
Don't need them. My daughter came all the way from Seattle. Oh, jeez.
Okay.
Boom! There it is.
Oh, yeah, she hates it. But Rocket Lake 360 on the Rapid Revolution skate park in Dallas. And I guess that was from Hoax 2, probably. Cool.
Wow. So there you go. For the bladers in the audience, a little bit of legendary Arlo footage and some old school blading for your eyeballs. All right, moving on. And I wonder if the Maltasanti milkshake will pull any more old school rollerblading footage out in their future propaganda. It'll be interesting to see what happens, because I know there's some floating around, right?
It's interesting because the team owner of Blue Angels from the matchup before has been posting a ton of like historical rollerblading footage of like me and Brooke. Pretty funny stuff. Yeah.
All right, the final battle in that round, here it is here, it was taking place between the Serenity Prayer versus Dis, and the winner was Serenity Prayer, taking out the victory there. Now, another very close match. Arlo, what was the scores on this one?
Yeah, another close one. In fact, if not for the one just before, this probably would have been our closest one. It was 100 to 95 for Serenity Prayer. Yeah.
Yeah. So 5 votes in it. And we're seeing this a pretty constant, pretty constant level of voting around about that 200, right? Sort of 200 to 220 votes every battle seems to be the sweet spot that we've seen across everything so far. So if you think about it, you only need 10 votes more. You need to sway those 200 votes. If you can earn 10 of them, through your propaganda or whatever, that could be enough to sway and win the competition. So yeah, it's tight, and it's only going to get tighter, because I think it feels to me like now people are kind of familiar. They've got their favorite teams. There's ones that they've voted for in the past, so they've got a bond with them. What we're going to see in the next round is teams that you voted for going up against each other. So you're going to be like, I voted for them last time, and I voted for them last time. Now who am I going to pick? There's going to be this psychological warfare element that comes into play. So can't rest on your laurels. Just because you got 120 odd votes last time doesn't mean you're going to get them this time.
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier from here on out. And another weapon that you have in your arsenal is we've got this fluff that we're giving away to people just for voting. So anyone that votes is automatically entered into a lottery to win a fluff.
This fluff here.
That fluff right there. Yep.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Go, when you're in other communities, other places, hopefully, preferably where you already have a voice and have already participated organically. But when you're in those other communities, asking people to come and support you and vote for you, you can also tell them, right, that there's a chance for them to win a fluff. It's not just about shilling. There's actually something in it for them. So use that. And, Trevor said we're at around this kind of 180, 200, 210 total vote count. But pump those numbers up, right?
Yeah.
If you're the one bringing them in, it only helps your chances.
Yeah, it's been cool. I've seen a lot of people using that. I've used it myself when my teams are coming up. I'm calling on the fact that, hey, just come and vote. You can win a fluff. I mean, it's a huge opportunity that everybody can be using. So make sure it finds its way into your socials and into your propaganda, because that's a huge motivator for a lot of people in the broader ecosystem to come and play. All right. So one last plug, and then we'll get into the current battles. I just wanted to draw, we announced this yesterday, Arlo. I'm not sure if you're even familiar with this one, but we announced this yesterday. We actually now have a past battles arena. So for the next 24 hours or so, while the current battles are running, you can go back and look at exactly what we've just walked through there. So you can see the vote count, and you can see who won each particular round. I believe you can still share them, and it'll drive you to this particular screen, so you can maybe grab a screenshot, download it, whatever you want to do with it, as a memento of your victory or defeat, depending on which way you sway. So there is a past battle arena, and I believe there is a link to it in Discord somewhere. Okay, should we dive into the current war? Round number 4A is being fought right now. And here they are. So, battle number 1, we have Siren in Wonderland taking on the Four Eyes of Oz. Arlo, what do you make of these two?
So it's interesting because we randomly distributed the matchups with a little bit of curation just to separate the people that had multiple entries, essentially. Yeah. We got some interesting matchups. So here's one. It's two like classic, right, children's stories, a bit of like children's fantasy, but also both with kind of like trippy, undertones, things that even adults still cherish. Alice in Wonderland on one hand and the Wizard of Oz on the other, and they got matched up against each other here in the first round. Yeah. So interesting lore on both of these, interesting themes. The Four Eyes of Oz on the right also, you'll notice, is a Tyler's Traits team. They're all ruby slippers, all tabbies. So it's a team tabby on the right. And an Alice in Wonderland theme on the left. So really, really clever, really interesting the way that this one turned out.
Yeah, we'll be interested to see, will the Tyler Shields ruby red slipper trait be the deciding factor in this otherwise fairly strong matchup, right? Amazing how these randomly got assigned, and they're two very, very similar approaches to the whole competition, very similar themes. Everything about them is pretty close.
Exactly. All the way down to the frames, right? They've both gone with the blue frames. The what's that called? Set tripper frames.
Yep. Set tripper, yeah, exactly. So interesting battle, this one. Watch this one very closely over the next 21 hours and 59 minutes. All right, let's have a look at battle number 2. Good luck to Siren in Wonderland and Four Eyes of Oz. You need to get out there and start promoting, get your propaganda going. There's only 3 votes decided one of the battles in the last round, so get your teams moving. Here we have the Ill Pills, which I've already seen a reasonable amount of propaganda for, and 4 Stuck in the Pink. Where do you reckon they got that name from?
Well, so each of the 4 Stuck in the Pink characters, they are actually stuck in pink bubblegum, which is kind of a nice bit of curation, and the backgrounds as well, the light gray on the top, dark gray on the bottom, going into the dark gray frame. Yes. But this actually, some of these matchups in our first round look like second round matchups, right? Because you get these sort of 2 really strongly curated teams, two different ways that you can curate. The one on the left has the diagonal thing going with the purples and the reds, and then using the white frame to really accentuate the colors of that. But these are just 2 really nicely curated frames. The kind of thing where you almost feel bad that one of them has to lose in the first round.
Yeah, and some interesting things going on here, right? With glasses and robber traits. This one's got the multicolored cash bag. This one's got the DRX umbrella. So really, some similar traits and things happening across the cards as well. Interesting matchup. And then let's have a quick look at the lore on the backs of these.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Don't look at it too long, because with cards like these, also with all the cards, it's helpful when you read the lore. It gives you some insight into why they chose the attributes that they did. But I would caution you before reading 4 Stuck in the Pink. This is one that should come with an explicit parental warning. Explicit content parental warning.
Not safe for work.
But if you're into that, hey.
And it reminds me of when we were curating the final 64 teams to make the cut. Right, there was some pretty fucked up stuff that we were in some of the lore. There's some sick and twisted minds in the drug receipts community. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I may be straying slightly on the lines of promoting or encouraging that kind of absurdity, but yeah, there was definitely some weird and wonderful lore that came through in some of the teams.
And some kind of raunchy propaganda to go along with it too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's out there.
Yeah, if your propaganda gets blocked on Twitter, I'm giving you bonus points. If you can show me where your propaganda got blocked on Twitter, you earned my vote. Okay, moving on to the next round. Be interesting to see what sort of propaganda comes from these two teams over the next 22 hours. Here we go. Next round is Piece de Resistance taking on the 4 stages of eating ramen. Now, there's an interesting matchup on this one, right? These two particular cards, the owners of these two cards have a interesting relationship.
Indeed, I don't know how much we are doxing people, but Piece de Resistance is an entry from one of the, talking about propaganda, one of the most prolific propagandists in the competition. So tons of support behind this card, making a lot of noise. And 4 stages of eating ramen is just, when we were selecting the 64, this is a team name and just a conception that we all were completely tickled by and just sort of in love with. And then the lore on the back, it's simple, but it does its job perfectly. It's a really fun entry and a really clever take on how you could use the characters and build the lore.
Yeah, and just to shout out to the owners of these two cards, this was one of the randomly generated battles, and it certainly wasn't done on purpose.
Are you telling me that 4 stages of eating ramen is?
Yes.
Is this a married couple here?
This is a married couple taking on each other. So this is the bedroom spilling over into the battle room, into the war room. So it'll be interesting.
This is a house divided.
Yes, it's a house divided, and I can see some support in the chats for the ramen eating crew. So we'll see who takes the triumph. Whether it's the strong, a lot more serious, much more significant, deep, and meaningful messaging around the piece de resistance, or the straight up slap you in the face humor of the 4 stages of eating ramen, which is definitely an hilarious approach. So good luck to those two teams.
Good luck.
And we'll see who triumphs in the end. Which of this particular married couple can generate more support?
Someone from the household is guaranteed to move on. I guess
someone
that's
in
the
that household is going to win. That's for sure. I hope we don't contribute to any marital discomfort this time tomorrow.
I want to say one other thing about that. Talking about these someone from their household being guaranteed to move on. I mentioned earlier that we distributed the matchups randomly, mostly, but we had to curate a little bit to separate people that had multiple entries. But in doing that, we did set it up so that people with multiple entries are all on the same side of the bracket. There are 2, basically there are going to be 2 finalists fighting for the grand prize. So we've set it up so that it can never end up where the 2 people fighting for the grand prize or the 2 teams fighting for the grand prize are owned by the same owner. You at some point, if you have multiple entries, you're on the same side back. You will face yourself. You can only have one represented in the finals.
There you go. A little bit of alpha there. And Dear, yes, it's a tough one, Dear. I feel your pain. Who can you pick? And just a little reminder that all votes are anonymous. So
hey, they're saying that ramen is not the wife. It looks like it's a different owner.
Is it? Oh,
another owner that no less cherished in the community, but there won't be any household strife here.
Okay, there we go.
Thanks for helping us clear that up.
Thank you for clearing that up, and we'll let's go back and do this one all again and edit it out in post-production. No, we'll box on. But good luck to both teams in this. Again, everybody is highly cherished in this community, but it'll be interesting to see which one of these 2 team owners can drum up the most support. Good luck. The final battle in 4A is opposite forces taking on Pinkies in the Brain. And it's interesting that these 2 came in last across the group, because this is a tough one. Really tough.
This is a tough one. I mean, this is a perfect example of what we were talking about when we said it looks like a second round matchup or something that comes up would happen later in the competition. These are 2 really, really strong contenders. And this one, I think I think one of these actually might be Mr. LB's. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to dodge people here. But yeah, so these look, the colors, the arrangements, the characters, the attributes, even the names and the lore. Yeah, these are really, really strong. So everyone voting is going to have their work cut out for them on this matchup. I mean, all the matchups usually are pretty hard. I know when I'm out there voting, it's tough making decisions, but this one especially, I think, really is going to be a challenge for us.
Yeah, I think this is one of, for me personally, this is one of the most exciting battles in this particular round. I mean, they're all getting exciting now. And again, just to reiterate your point, this feels like a second round, matchup here. These two cards are so well curated; they feel like they should belong in round two, not round one. And it'll be, again, such great use of color, of use of the traits. Everything there is happening well. Hello, is your phone going off?
I told my daughter to call me after the podcast. Obviously, she's not watching the podcast. She just thinks it's over.
Yeah. Okay. So now I feel guilty, but I did put the call out, and this is an example of that. So I've put the call out, and as a reminder to everybody listening or watching the post replay, if you've got propaganda for your teams and they're coming up in the current battle, please share it with us, and we will, share it on this platform while there's people watching and engaging. And I wanted to share this one because this one was dropped earlier today, and I think it's an awesome piece of propaganda, and I really want to just showcase it. But in no way, shape, or form is this designed to influence any particular vote for any particular battle. But I really feel like this is a dope piece of propaganda and a great example of what's possible out there when you put your mind to it. So here we go, some propaganda for this current battle.
Gee, Ray, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
The Pinky and the Brain, yes, Pinky and the Brain. One is a genius, the other's insane. They're laboratory mice, their genes have been spiced. They're Pinky and the Brain, 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 brain.
Amazing. So good. I can't wait to see what
really
comes
cool.
as time goes on, right? And people get a little bit more involved as they progress through the rounds. Some of these teams, they're going to start building their own personalities and their own identities, these teams, and the propaganda is going to reflect it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and as Trevor said, a lot of you guys have created a lot of really great propaganda leading up to this competition, but we're not going back and combing the archives looking for any propaganda you've ever posted. If you want to be featured in the show, you have 24 hours when your battle is active. Be in the Discord posting. If you have new propaganda, or if you have something you want to promote, put it in the Discord and tag us. Make sure that the Meds see it and say, hey, put this in the wrap-up show, and we'll make sure that your propaganda gets in the wrap-up show. We just need you guys to help us a little bit.
100%. So put it in the day before, not the day of. Make sure that we know about that propaganda. I mean, even an hour or so before is probably enough time for us to get it into the show. So yeah, if you've got some propaganda that you're sitting on, don't wait till the last possible second, or don't wait until your battle goes live. If you want it featured on the show, drop it into Discord, or even happy for you to send it through to us, offline and privately, so that it's not shared if it's something that you really want to hold back. And we can broadcast it for the first time and feature it live on the daily recap. So yeah, pretty cool. So well done to Nicely, who doxed himself in that piece of content. Good luck, mate, and good luck to Opposite Forces. That's going to be one hell of a battle. And
since we're doxing Nicely, Opposite Forces, that was Jamie. So we assigned her a one stage or one matchup too early. But so yeah, Nicely's up against Jamie in that round. So good luck, guys. Good luck to all the teams in this round, in this division.
Yeah. Amazing stuff. I just keep getting impressed. Like every time I think I've seen something really cool, something else gets dropped, something else comes out of it. This is such a fun competition. It's so much fun to be a part of it and to see everybody stepping up and enjoying it. So again, keep your votes in line with the spirit of the competition. Try and choose and vote according to what you think deserves your vote, not necessarily alliances or anything else, have a look and be fair, and let's make sure the winner of Drug Wars is the winner by the community's vote. So important. But yeah, amazing. Another round. Here we go again. And there's only one more left after this. Yeah. Then we're going to take a little break for a day while we line up and get ourselves organized and do all of the, the ordering and get ourselves ready for the round 2, the round of 32. So on that bombshell, thank you for tuning in. Lovely to see you all. Shout out to Dia, Mr. LB, Al Dennis, Jesse, who's in the chats, all the people who have taken time out of their day to come and tune in and watch the recap. Thank you, guys. We love you all. We'll see you again tomorrow. Same bat time,
everybody.
Same bat station here on Drug Wars.
Attention! Attention! Citizens of the drug receipt community, the floodgates have opened. The games have begun. War is imminent. This is a war! This is a war! A drug war, but it's the type of war that you don't need guns for. You just shoot up to the drugstore, and you can cop the product that you want and so much more. If you don't want a problem with the